Good evening, Tampa Bay. What is up, Tampa Bay? What's happening, my people? It's Tuesday.
Raining finally.
It finally. I know, right? We're like, please let it rain, and it has come, and that is exciting. It was nice to hear the thunder booms last night.
Yeah.
See a little bit of lightning. It was peaceful for sure. But welcome, y'all. Good evening. Welcome to Tampa Talk Live. It is Tampa Tuesdays, as you guys are well aware, and we're excited to have you. We've got the full gauntlet tonight with Miss Stacy Amon up in Pasco County. What is up, Stacy?
Good evening, everyone. Things are good. I was happy it was raining, but I wish it would just not rain when I have to show houses.
Can't be sick about that, Stacy.
That's right. The world's smallest violin is playing loudly somewhere. I'm sure they care. Right? But yes, good evening, and thank you for joining us. We also have Miss Marsha Railton down in Manatee, Sarasota area. What is up, Marsha?
Hi, everybody. I was out in the rain today too, but I was very glad it was raining. But I was just telling Juan and Stacy I saw a couple accidents because people kind of freak out when it rains here, and it can be very heavy rain, so it is scary driving. So hopefully the people that were in the accident are okay, but it took me probably double the time it normally does to drive from where I was at. So rain brings accidents to Florida.
Yeah, it's like being up north when you know it's going to snow. You don't want to go out and drive in it. It's like when it rains here, you want to stay home. You don't want to go out and drive in it.
Especially the first rain after a while.
Yeah, today wasn't so bad, but there's a lot of times when you're on the road, you can't really see. It's raining so hard. It's scary when that happens.
For sure. Well, good evening. Welcome to the Weather Channel. My name is Juan. I'm kidding, y'all. I'm kidding. Welcome to Tampa Talk Tuesdays. My name is Juan Alcala. You are, if you're joining us for the first time, we talk all things Tampa Bay, what it's like to live here, what it's like to work here, what it's like to play here, the food, the dining, the outdoors, the beaches, and the sunshine. We also are all licensed real estate agents, and we help people just like you buy, sell, and relocate in the greater Tampa Bay area. So with that being said, we've got some cool stuff to talk about tonight. We're going to talk about new construction, of course, because that seems to be the most coveted topic on this channel, and we're grateful to be able to have those interactions with you guys. I am going to do a real estate market update tonight. All right, I keep saying we're going to get to those, and you guys keep bringing lots of great questions, and we haven't been able to get to it. But I do want to make sure that you are informed. Okay, so that's the big thing. We will get to that at some point this evening, and also talk a little bit about cost, because that is another topic that people always want to know. And these live streams, we started doing them to answer the questions that you guys have, both in the YouTube channel, because there's a lot of questions in the comments, and via email, and of course during our Zoom call. So we want to try to do our best to answer some of those questions up front. We encourage communication here, y'all. Join the conversation. Okay, so whether you're watching on Facebook or LinkedIn or wherever platform you're watching on, let us know where you're watching from, number one. Right, connect with the community, because there are a bunch of people who show up here regularly and have conversations, ask great questions, and we're so grateful for that. So make sure you ask those questions, and it's really helpful for other people as well. So we want you to join the conversation, get your questions answered live. That's what we're here to do. We'll kind of roll through some of those things, and you know, when we get into the numbers, it's not always the funnest talk. I'm trying my best to make numbers fun. But listen, I don't want people to be uninformed, man. Like, there's nothing better than when y'all, ladies, help me understand this, right? Like, this is not an experience I'm used to. So I want to ask, okay, when you're going shopping, all right, and let's just say you're going shopping for something you really want, okay? And let's go, we're hearkening back to the days of, let's say when you had to go to the mall. That's how far ago this was, right? Like, and then I'll bring it into the 21st century, y'all. But like, you remember, like, you used to like get magazines and catalogs and like really kind of wrap your mind around what it took to get the thing that you wanted. Maybe that was just my experience, right? Like, I remember like really coveting Star Wars toys as a kid, and like I had to figure out how many lawns I needed to mow and like that kind of stuff, right? But those skills have served me well later on in life, right? Like, what does it take to make something happen? And the reason I wanted to start with this is because oftentimes, you know, we just, don't necessarily aren't the most curious when it comes to really important things in our life. People want to get the big questions answers, the stuff that they're fearful of. But man, there's nothing more empowering than having a good outlook on where things are going so you can make really sound, qualified decisions. No one is perfect. No one is Nostradamus. That's not the way the world works. But y'all, the great Wayne Gretzky used to say it best, right? The reason he was the best in the game was not because he skated to where the puck was. It's because he skated to where the puck was going. And when I come with numbers, that's it. It's information I'm bringing to you guys. I'm not trying to convince anybody of anything. I don't want anybody to ever feel that way. We talk about this quite often on our calls with clients is we're not going to convince you of anything. I'm not here to sell you a thing, right? We're here to be your guide. If this is the right decision for you, we'll help you execute it with the least amount of stress, right? That's our role. But we're not going to try to convince you that moving to Tampa is the right thing for you. Also not going to try to convince people that buying a house is the best thing for them. Because in all transparency, it's not right for everybody, right? There are times and seasons in life when renting is actually very appropriate. Now, I'm also very numbers focused, so I know the math, and the math says that that's an ugly program, right? But there are times when it serves you extremely well, and it was prudent, right? So when we share numbers, just know that's where I'm coming from on this. The goal here is not to talk down at people or to posture myself in a way that, I'm not the world-class economist, and I think we all know how that turned out last time people said they knew where the puck was going. Right? No one knew where the puck was going, right? So again, we're all trying to grow and get better at the same time. So forgive the long-winded start up there, but I just want to make sure you guys know where we're coming from when we share information like this, right? We are pros. We're in the game. We're in the hunt every day. We see what's happening. These ladies are in the houses, right? They're in the new construction. They're talking to the builders, the sales teams, the clients. They know what's happening in our marketplace. You couldn't be in a better place, right? So I'm grateful to share them with you. I know they love doing this. They tell me every time we wrap up how fun it is to connect with you guys. So we encourage the conversation, and thank you for this opportunity, and thank you for your attention. Okay. I just want to make sure I say thank you, and we appreciate it. All right. I want to start with a few things. Y'all get your questions ready. Like I said, if you're just tuning in, please let us know where you're watching from. Love connecting with you guys. It's awesome. And we had so many people say hello before we even got started. So let's say hello to them this evening as well. So we've got Mr. Adam. He said good evening before we even got started. I love that. Kevin, of course, chimed in early. Kevin, oh man, I love Kevin was always first, and now Kevin is he's given up first place. Kevin, you must be a real man of God. That's what it is. He's just standing back so someone else can take that victory. I appreciate it. I'm kidding. Just poking fun. He's great. He's been here since he's one of the OGs. Kevin has been watching the live stream for almost as long as I've been doing this. So thank you, brother. I appreciate that very much. Desiree says, good evening, y'all. Love that. Good evening to you as well. Tampa Tuesday. Shout out to you. Zach said he's looking forward to tonight's episode. We are looking forward to hanging out with you guys. Thank you very much on that. Debbie says, hello, everyone. Good evening. Let me see here. Derek says, rainy day here in the Bay Area. Much needed. Yes, it is, man. Rained earlier this morning. I got a walk in, rained in the day again, and then I got another walk, right? And we're about to get it again. So that's good. We definitely need it. Debbie says it's in the 60s here in Michigan. God bless you. Don't tell me. I'm going up in 2 weeks. We're going to be up. And I already know how this is going to go. I'm going to be upset because the lakes are cold. That's how it's going to work for me, Debbie. That's why I don't do this anymore. But we're coming up to see family. We're going all the way up to Lake Charlevoix. We're going to spend a week up there. Marsha, I'm going to need a coat.
I'm leaving in 2 days for Michigan. So yes. I'm excited. And I'm bringing a lot of different clothes items because I'm hearing it's warm. I'm hearing it's freezing. I keep hearing different predictions. So I hate being cold, but I love being at a Michigan bonfire. It's one of my favorite things to do. And I just don't want to be cold while I'm at it. So I'm prepared.
Good. Love it. Marcella says, good evening. Good evening to you as well. Pleasure to do that. She's laughing at us because, we're Ninnies, of course. I get it. Corey says, "What's up, y'all?" Corey tuning in from C-Bus, waiting for Sassy but Classy to bless us with her presence. I love that. I don't think she was on last week, was she?
I don't think she was either. Or maybe
she was either. I love that.
Yeah.
Shout out to the audience knowing other audience members. That's a big win. Corey
well, remember one time we found out they were husband and wife or boyfriend and girlfriend. So you don't know.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. That was great. Debbie says, our house is on the market. We are looking for new builds. What's up, Debbie? Well, congratulations on getting that bad boy in the market. It's good news. And you guys still have a healthy market up in Michigan. I've shared this a little bit before. We still have a team back home in Detroit as well. So I have a business partner and a sales agent up there. And we wrote a property 2 days ago, cash offer, and we lost out to 4 other cash offers.
Wow.
So it's like that market up there is still on fire. So congratulations to you guys. Adam says, laugh out loud. Corey, love that. Kiara, good evening, everyone watching from PA. Looking forward to meeting you, Stacy. Heck yeah.
Hi, Kiara. I'm looking forward to it too. I sent you an email today, so we'll chat before you get here.
Awesome. Love that. Adam is apologizing for being first. Well, love that. Love that. All right, let me see. Matt says, what's the transparency with houses? I hear many rumors from different people on how everything is going up and which city is affordable. I don't know what you necessarily mean by going up, but we're going to cover the numbers tonight, Matt. Okay, so we're going to get to specifics regarding Tampa Bay. That's what we're going to talk about. A little bit of Sarasota, and I actually am going to break them down independently of each other. I really want to do a much deeper dive on Sarasota and Manatee next week, just so you guys know. I really want to get a little bit deeper there because the markets are acting different. So I don't want to just lump them all together, and that'll take us an hour to do. Just a heads up. So I'm going to try to not bore everybody to tears and do bite size accordingly. So does that make sense? So we can kind of wrap our minds around that, but I'll definitely get into it, man. Like I tell everybody, trust the numbers. You don't have to take our words for it. Don't. There's plenty of public sources out there that can show you the information. Where we usually tend to struggle is when we listen to what everybody else says, right? If we can just grab some information that is public, because here's the thing about real estate sales that I love. When a home is sold, it is recorded, right? It's not sold in a vacuum and it's private information that people can't see. It is recorded at a county level, reported up to the state, and nationally syndicated. Everybody has access to it. So that is wonderful. Right. That's wonderful. So you can really kind of rely on that information. Important to know. Let me check over on Instagram, see if we got any conversations over there. Shout out to Instagram for everybody who's watching live over there tonight. No questions yet, but let us know where you're watching from. Instagram, we'd love to check in with you guys. Love that. She says, Marcella says that, but in the rain in Florida, it's lovely and warm. It is warm. There's no mistake. The only reason that I used to never go for walks in the rain unless it was like really warm in the summer. But I do it regularly here. The only time I don't is when I know there's like thunderstorm or lightning potential, because that is dangerous. And so like that's the only thing we don't do. Debbie said the lakes are cold. I already knew this. And we're going to Lake Charlevoix. And for for anybody who doesn't know, that's all the way up here. Like up here, if you're looking at, let me do my Michigan hand here. Right, it's all the way up here, and it's a lake that's attached to Lake Michigan and Lake Superior. It's enormous and cold. All right, so like be freezing up there. What do you think, Bill? Of course,
I'm flying into Traverse City Thursday. I'm excited. I'm meeting with Shannon while I'm there.
Nice.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Traverse City is beautiful.
Yeah,
great area. You can do the whole cherry thing while you're up there too. It's a good time. You're hitting right about that time too, I think, right?
I don't know. I've never done the cherry festival, to be honest. We've picked up cherries. You know, they have like little farmers markets on the side of the road and stuff. Yep. If you're driving, we'll probably do that, but I've never been to the festival there. But that whole area of Michigan's beautiful.
Yeah, that's great. All right, let's get into some of this conversation. Then we're going to jump into some. I'll answer a couple quick questions, then we're going to get into some of these numbers. Victoria King says, buying a new home in Hillsborough County. Worth about $796,000. They are estimating taxes at $400,000 or $14,000. $2,900 is the CDD. Is that high for the area? We are shocked at how high the taxes are. Well, ladies, why don't we do the math? We always try to give people a helpful estimate. So Victoria, a safe practice for new construction in that area is about 1.6% of the purchase price. Okay, so who's got a calculator, ladies? Let's do this in real time with everyone.
Working on it.
$12,304.
$12,304. So if they are adding the CDD into that number, the 14,000, I think that you're pretty close. Mm-hmm. And you also, if this is going to be your primary home, you will qualify for a homestead exemption, which will change the taxes for you. Okay. If you go to the Hillsborough County Tax Assessor's website, you will find a tax calculator there. It will give you an estimate. And if you're building new construction, just be mindful. Don't let them underfund your escrow account, because you'll pay for it next year and it'll hurt. It'll be very painful. But that sounds fairly accurate based upon what we're seeing. It could potentially be less. I'm going to be mindful of what I'm saying live. We're not representing you, so I don't know how things are structured, what's going on there. But general rule of thumb, 1.6%. That gets you. Usually, that's on the conservative side. Usually, that's a little bit more than people are paying. But I want to make sure that I'm sharing something that'll get you close. Okay. Great question, though. Great question, Victoria. All right. Where were we? Lost on those. Okay. Bruce, I'm going to come back to your comment. Ladies, remind me to come back to Bruce, because that's going to open a whole can of worms.
Okay.
That's why I'm like trying to segment the show tonight so we can kind of crank through it. Let me see if something we can answer really quick. Matt says, thank you. You're welcome, Matt. My pleasure. Michael V says, hello, everyone. Hello. Good evening to you, sir. All right. Michael's got a question here I want to answer. Once we answer this, we're going to hop over and read some articles really quick, and then we'll come back to Q&A. All right. Okay. Michael says, I'm noticing they are building out the land adjacent to Wood Creek and Wesley Chapel and connecting the road. Do we know if this is an extension of that development? Miss Stacy, this is your wheelhouse.
Yeah, if you're talking about the developing of the land right next to it, that is all Wood Creek. Across the street, that 55 plus community is being built next to Winding Ridge. So that's currently being developed right there. I don't know if that's the road you're talking about. And then there's supposed to be a school that's going to be developed or built over there as well. So yeah, a lot going on over there still.
There's a ton. And I was actually in Wood Creek filming on Thursday last week, Michael. So keep an eye open. There may be a video out soon. Wood Creek. I was on that eastern edge of Wesley Chapel into Zephyr Hills. So we got more to come on that, my friend. More to come. Okay, cool. So ladies, as you may or may not be aware, which that's tongue in cheek, by the way, rhetorical. There's been a lot of articles about how much it costs to live everywhere in this country recently, right? Like, and the numbers are all over the place. I've seen stuff from $80,000, which I don't think is real, all the way up to $194,000 to live comfortably in Tampa Bay. And that was also the same article that said you need $174,000 to live in rural Mississippi. So I don't think that one was spot on either. But the reason I'm getting into this is because these articles keep popping up, and I think that there is value in them. And what I wanted to do is open up questions to people who may have questions about budget, right? I filmed another cost of living video today. God bless my wife. You know, she jumps on camera and she's willing to legitimately share what we spend money on. And it's one of those things, as a child, nobody ever talked about money around me. And I recognized why when I grew up, because there's two reasons why nobody ever talked about money when I was younger. Number one, our family didn't have any, so they wasn't anything to talk about, right? And number two, they didn't know anything about it, and hence the reasons why we didn't talk about it. And we vowed that we would not do that to our children, right? The financial literacy would be a huge component of their education growing up. They will know how much it costs to operate a household. They will understand how bills work. And, you know, we've done such a good job of shielding trust me, I know, like the generation that came behind, like they were shielded from that. And please don't take this as judgment, but like it was go to school, get an education, you'll learn everything you need to know. And then a lot of those kids came out ill-equipped on the common sense stuff, right? And the reason I'm going so deep here is because I really respect and appreciate the fact that my wife is willing to share our bills. Most, because again, a lot of people don't like to talk about that stuff, and we're very open in that respect. We try to live modestly. We don't on food and dining. That's one area, and in experiences, we don't cut in those areas. We'll cut around everything else in our life. For us, we love experiences. We love to, and we try to pre-medicate ourselves with quality food. So we always share that. And like, we got deep into the weeds of like how much money we spend on everything, groceries, unpack all that stuff. And I'm sharing that with you guys because we get those questions quite often when we're in the Zoom calls, right? What do groceries cost? What does this cost? And we're happy to share those things. And it's okay to ask those questions. If you guys want to do that in private, please feel free to email us. All of our contact information is in the description. We're happy to share those things. Okay, I've shared before in real time what our insurance costs. My insurance is $2,480 a year for homeowners insurance. You can spend way more if you buy a house right on the coast. I promise you that. If you buy a house in a really gnarly flood zone, you can pay way more. But you can do it here. But I want to talk about what it really costs to live here, just briefly, and then answer some more questions with you guys, and then do a short market update at the end of tonight. Everybody cool with that?
Sounds good.
Plenty of questions too. You guys are rocking and rolling. We're coming back to Bruce first, so don't forget about that. And once we answer Bruce's question, we're going to head over to Corey. He's got another question, I think. Kiara's got another question too. So we got quite a few on there, but we'll get into that. But I want to start with this article that came in. And it's an article based from Smart Asset was the name of the company that did it. So I'm going to find it for you. Here it is. This article is fascinating. And it broke down the top 100 metro areas. So that's important. I want you guys to kind of see what's going on here, not just in Tampa, but you can, when we put this in the live stream later, you'll be able to just pull this down and like get a fair representation of where you live. And why I'm saying that is because if you go to where you live and it says X and you think that that's pretty reasonable, or even if it's off, now you can say, well, I spend $20,000 less than this says. Well, remove that 20 grand from what Tampa says, and then you'll be pretty close, right? There's also the Forbes cost of living calculator. We've shared that on the live stream before. I'll pull that up as well tonight, but I want to show you this because this is great. And it just came out. This is a newer study here, March 19th. It said, this is from Smart Assets. It said salary needed to live comfortably in 2024. Now, what does that mean? This is always the thing, right? It doesn't say how much it costs to live. Right, I want to make sure we're all on the same page, because how much it costs to live for Juan may be entirely different than it costs to live for Marcia and Stacy and Kiara and Corey, all of the people that are watching on this. So take your lifestyle and build it accordingly. But I love this article because it really kind of breaks out some common sense behind this and how to approach it. I don't know that this is how most people budget, because I didn't forever. But as I got better with money, we started to do things like this. But what this is based off on is the 50-30-20 budget, okay, which recommends that for sustainable comfort, 50% of your salary should be allocated to your needs, such as housing, grocery, and transportation. 30% like entertainment and hobbies, and the last 20% towards paying off debts, savings, and investing. Like that. That's a good, sensible approach. I don't know that it was always an option, right? At certain times in my life, I couldn't do it. At other times, it wasn't a problem. But sharing this with you guys because they did this based upon 99 U.S. cities, which I think is really cool. All right. Now, as we get into the findings here, key findings, I want to get into this. On average, an individual needs $96,500 for sustainable comfort in the United States. On average is what it's saying. So U.S. all the way across the board, it said to live comfortable, an individual needs $9,600 $96,500. That's a big number. All right. This includes being able to pay off debt and invest for the future. I think that's important to note. Okay. It's even more expensive for families who need to make an average combined income of about $235,000 to support 2 adults and 2 children without the pressure of living paycheck to paycheck. That falls in line with that other number I was seeing, that 280, 290 number, ladies, that we've seen out there before. And again, this isn't what you can survive on. What they're saying is this allows you to invest, go on vacation, pay your taxes, save some money, do the things. Okay. So I'm just sharing this with y'all because I know not everybody's going to agree with this, and we don't have to, right? A family must make over $300,000 to raise 2 kids comfortably in 6 cities. To work, 2 working adults need to make particularly high income in San Francisco, $339,000, San Jose, $334,000, Boston, $319,000, Arlington, Virginia, which you've had a few people move from, $318,000, New York City, $318,000, and Oakland, California at $316,000. And I'm fascinated. This is where I was fascinated, because if anybody knows anything about Oakland, California, you can't even leave people park their car at work and leave their windows down and open their trunks so people don't smash their windows in and take stuff out of it. Could you imagine living in a place, ladies, first of all, where that was even an option? No. Like that was it's normal, right? And to be one of the most 6 expensive places in the entire country and still having that happen, dear Lord, God bless you, Californians. I have no idea how you do it.
Yeah.
No idea. But shout out to you guys, right? Shout out for the people who are still holding on and not giving up on their city. That actually is incredible also. It takes the most money to live comfortably for a single person in New York City. I don't think anybody's surprised by that. This breaks down to $66.62 in hourly wages and an annual salary of $138,570. To cover the necessities, as a single person in New York City, you'll need an estimated $70,000 in wages. Holy wow. Holy wow.
Yeah.
Right? Big numbers. Okay. So let's get into salaries needed to live comfortably, because we're talking about Tampa Bay. This is important to understand, right? As you get into this list, I want to share with you guys, and this goes from first to last, meaning that the least expensive to the most expensive out of the 99 cities that they've done. I'll put the link in the description. That way you guys can, check this thing out. Again, compare where you live to where you might be moving to. I think that's a helpful tool. Okay. Just as just a benchmark. Houston, Texas, $75,000. Shout out to Houston. El Paso, Lubbock, El Paso. That's a border town. That doesn't surprise me. Toledo, Ohio. I growing up in the Detroit area, Toledo was always the area that needed a lot of love. Along with Detroit for a long time. Laredo, Milwaukee, look at these on this list. Cincinnati, Winston-Salem, North Carolina, Fort Wayne, Indiana. I would not expect them to be above some of these other cities, but they are, and I found that fascinating. So that was pretty cool. If we go on to the next list here, Detroit, Michigan, my former hometown, comes in at $85,000. San Antonio, keep coming down the list. I'm trying to show you guys to see if one of yours pops up. Number 40 on this list, we start to get into Florida here. 39 is Port St. Lucie. That's on the East Coast. 40 is Jacksonville, Florida at $91,000. And if you got a family, it says on the right side here, salary needed for 2. And this is probably pretty small, isn't it, ladies? I know that drives me crazy. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, it's hard to see. Oh,
right.
Much better.
Yeah, there we go. Try my best. Total salary needed for 2 working adults. That's in the right column. But I can't. It's too big.
Now we can't see the city.
I'm doing my best here. All right, I'm gonna skim through this again. I don't want to pound nails here. I'm just trying to get through it. Dallas, Texas at 91,000. Remember, that's for an individual. 2008 for a family, and then you start getting into the other numbers. Now, Tampa, Florida is number 50 on this list, so we're like right in the middle of what this looks like. That comes in at $94,432 and $209 for a family of 2. St. Pete was the very next city. Looks like we're tied there, actually, which doesn't surprise me, right? Tampa, St. Pete are very similar in that respect. And then the California states start sliding in here. And again, I'll drop this article later, but let me get to the 10 cities with the lowest salaries needed so everybody can understand. Houston, El Paso, Lubbock, Toledo, Laredo, Texas, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Shout out to Milwaukee. Lexington, Kentucky, Tulsa, Wichita, Kansas, and Cleveland, Ohio. Hello, Cleveland. Then we've got the cities with the most expensive are New York City, San Jose, Irvine, California, Santa Ana, California, Boston, Massachusetts, San Diego, Chula Vista, San Francisco, Seattle, Washington, and Oakland, California to round that out. So I know we got a ton into that. But what it's essentially saying is in order to live comfortably in the greater Tampa Bay area as an individual, and again, comfortably is the key. You can do it for less. You can survive on less is what they said, right? Some of you can't survive on $94,000 a year. And hey, I'm not judging you. God bless you, man. If you guys, you kicking butt. Good job. And then the salary with children, $209,498. Ladies, here's my question. And audience, here's my question. Do you feel like this is an accurate representation? And let me just take a step back. I'm putting them on the spot right now. Unfair. If you don't want to answer the question, don't feel obligated to. I'm willing to do it. You don't have to. Is that a you don't want to answer?
Yeah, I'm just
to live comfortably and to be able to save. Yes, I feel like that is pretty accurate.
So you feel like a couple $100,000 is what you need to crank
With
down?
Two kids, yeah.
Mhm.
Especially if they're in their wood chipping phase, right? Where they're just like in the refrigerator every 7 seconds.
Yeah. and kids are so active these days. I mean, we have our kids in everything you can imagine, so which costs money to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, the one thing, y'all, this doesn't factor into, this is the way that they break this down is based upon you buying everything new, like at today's prices. Just FYI, if you really read into the article, that is like a relocation. I don't own any cars. I'm going to put the bare minimum down on a house, like all the things, right? And this is why we said some people can do it on a lot less. Some people are going to spend a lot more. You know, if you're selling a home and you're walking into an area with $100,000 or $200,000 or $500,000 in equity, obviously your mortgage payment is going to be really, really small, and you're not going to have those. You're not going to need to earn that type of income. But I think it's important for everybody to understand that this just is, and this is why I wanted to bring this up. It's not just a Tampa thing. This is a United States thing, right? And again, if you're looking in Tampa says 94 and your area, let's just say says 90, but you know that you're living great right now at 75, then I think that that's a better representation for you. That's the big thing I want you to understand. Okay. And just take away from this. But hopefully you guys like when we share stuff like this, because again, we get the numbers sometimes and people are like, and I'm out. But they ask the questions, so I'm bringing it up, right? People always want to know how much money do we really need to make, Juan? They ask that all the time, right? All the time. So hopefully that was of value too. We'll put that in the chat later. Okay. All right, let's get into some of these questions, y'all. We're coming into all of you guys' questions. So if you've got questions tonight about new construction or the real estate market, feel free to put those in the chat. We will try to get to every single one of those. Don't
forget Bruce's first.
We're going to Bruce right now. So let me pull that up. I want to make sure I got it. Where did it go? They piled on more questions, so I lost my spot. We'll get there. Where did Bruce go? Oh, there he is. Okay. Bruce, my man. Mr. Seymour, he says, thoughts on the pros and cons of Citrus Park and Northdale areas. Okay. Stacy, you want to go first?
No. I'll let you lead that one.
All right. Well, I can do the cons if you want to do the pros. If that makes you feel better about the situation, I can do that.
Okay. Go for it. You start.
All right. But you want me to do the cons first? All right. So the cons are the area, the housing is older. Okay. So in that may not be a con for everyone, but it's not older in like the best kind of way. You know, the 70s weren't the greatest architecture in the world. And I know this because I own a home that was built in 1977. It's called, and it's a single story home, ranch style, if you're from the North. Or a rambler is what they call them here. Really low sloped roofs. They're just lame from an architecture perspective. So that's the first thing. Second thing on the con side is the neighborhoods that are there are a little bit disjointed. Okay, so it's built like a lot of the neighborhoods were built in the 70s, 80s. Like, hey, there's some land. Let's go throw up a spot. There wasn't a whole lot of like thought process behind how to develop these communities like there are in the newer communities that we build now, these master plan communities where it's thought through from tip to tail before they ever break ground and move a single piece of dirt. You know, they know where the shopping centers are going to be. They know exactly where the community centers are going to be. There's a lot of things like that. The infrastructure is, again, it's just older. Again, I'm calling this a con, but I'm just giving you perspective, right? I wouldn't shy away from living in Citrus Park or like, it's not a place where I'm afraid of living, but like, again, I can get a nicer product and a nicer community for less money. And to me, that provides better value. And it's not even about the money as much. I would pay the same, but I still am not going to get the equivalence when I spend that dollar. So for a value perspective, you know, it's hard to argue that going into our new suburbs, if you don't need to live on the beach, which you don't, because that's where Northdale and Citrus Park are. They're not in the beach. That's not a better bet. So those are my personal, like, why they're not at the top of my list. Hopefully that helps, Bruce. Again, they're not bad communities. Don't feel that way in any way, shape, or form. If my sister said she was moving to Citrus Park, I'd say cool, right? But it wouldn't be a target of mine personally. That's my personal opinion. Doesn't need to be anybody else's. That's my concept. Stacy, what do you think of the pros?
I think just location of Citrus Park and Northdale. I mean, you're closer to the city, you're closer to the beaches, closer to St. Pete. That would be a pro for me. And just the fact that it is already established, so you know what you're getting, versus in some of our newer communities, they're just starting out, so you really don't know what that's going to look like. So if you're uncomfortable with not knowing for sure, those older established communities would be a plus for you.
Yep. And sorry for not pulling up the map earlier, y'all. Let me give you a little insight there in terms of Citrus Park. So proximity to the airport, awesome. Proximity to downtown, awesome. Proximity to the beaches, nice. I wouldn't say great, but nice. You're going to be 45 minutes to Clearwater Beach. You also have the option of going to Honeymoon Island over here on the Gulf beaches. You guys can see that here. Again, proximity to downtown. Love that. So not bad. But again, wouldn't be my first choice. Hopefully that helps, Bruce. Awesome. Okay. Let's keep cracking on this. So we've got, okay. Michael has another question. I'm noticing there. Oh, we already did that one. Sorry, Michael. All right. Corey says, getting ready to get my house ready for the market in September. I have a 3-bedroom, 2-bath on 3 acres outside of Seabus. Bought in 21 for $126,000 at 3.2. Are you flexing? What is happening right now? All right. $126,000 at 3.25 on a USDA. So that's a rural loan, by the way, y'all. That's a zero down product that you can put money down, but that's a zero down product. Can I market it as an assumable mortgage? Oh, that's such a good question. Elaborate. Dude, I have not sold the USDA since I left Michigan. So that is a really good question that I will have to ask our lender. Ladies, do put that in the notes and go back and ask, because I think you, as long, and I'm going to give this as a caveat, I don't sell mortgages. So Juan is speaking out of pocket a little bit here, but here's what I understand of how these products work. As long as it still qualifies, because as areas develop, they can lose that USDA certification, Corey. So that is important to note. I don't know if yours has, right? You're on 3 acres. It sounds to me like you're in a space that's pretty rural. And I think it might qualify. And what he's getting at here, for those of you who are unaware, if you have an FHA or a VA loan, those two for sure, and potentially And Google this too, ladies. Let's see if we can Google this really quick. And potentially a USDA loan. But here's what I know for a fact. FHA and VA are assumable mortgages. Now, what does that mean? That means if someone has a 3.25% interest rate like Corey does, and let's just say that you wanted to sell your home, you can actually sell it alongside of the mortgage, which is a ridiculous advantage in a marketplace where interest rates are 7.5% or 7%, well above 3.25. Now, that's a huge advantage to that buyer. The difficult part for that buyer, Corey did not say how much he's selling this home for. So let's give a scenario. If you were going to sell the house for, let's say that your home doubled just like our homes have doubled during that time period too. And now that home is worth $250,000. And you as a buyer came to Corey and said, Corey, we want to buy this house from you and we want your 3.25% mortgage. Corey can say, yep, it's an FHA style loan. I can give that to you. But the challenge for you as the buyer is now you got to come up with at least that $125,000 difference to make Corey whole. Because if he has equity and he's paid down the mortgage, whatever the remaining balance is all you'll be assuming. Okay, so let me start that again. If he's selling it for $250,000, but let's just say he only owes $100,000, then you have to bring him $200,000 in cash to the table in order to assume that remaining balance of $100,000 at 3.25. Now your mortgage would be almost free. $100,000 at 3.25. Yeah, on a 30-year, like, or 25 or whatever's left on. Holy cow, that mortgage would be nothing, right? Like your car payments would be an envy of what that house payment would be every month. So shout out to that. And I know I gave you an interesting scenario, but this is important. He brought something to the table that is really valuable. Mm-hmm. Getting to an assumable mortgage is awesome, but you have to have the means to execute. That's first thing. Second thing, you heard me say VA. Here's what I want you to be aware of. Yes, a VA loan is assumable, meaning that I could go and buy that property and assume that mortgage from the vet. But here's the challenge. If that vet is going to buy another home using their VA benefits, the number that every veteran has a number. That number is what's associated with that loan. In order to use another VA loan, that number has to go along with it. So now what happens is he can't give me the loan if he wants to use his VA benefit again. Right? So I'm sharing this with you guys because they're like, hey, I heard VA is assumable. Yes, but not if the person wants to use another VA loan, which most vets do. It's their benefit. It's their right. They've earned it. Right? So be aware of that. Now, if one of our soldiers leaves and goes to the pearly gates, is there an opportunity to pick that mortgage up? Yes. Yes, there is. So just sharing this with you guys. Again, this is in the weeds of mortgage talk, but I think this stuff is important. And it's a great question that he brought to the table. So, Corey, I appreciate it. We'll do more homework on that USDA thing because, again, it's been forever since I've sold one. And I wouldn't want to give you any terrible advice on that. But if you can do it, man, that's awesome, especially if you can find the buyer to cover the gap on your equity. That's the big thing there. Okay. All right. Let's get in these questions. All right. Kiara has one. Stacy, you want to take this?
Do they pre-treat new build foundations for termites? If not, is that something you can request to have done? I believe that the foundation, no, the frame is probably what she means, right?
Yep.
The framing.
Well, and potentially we're not quite sure that, Kiara, if you could give us some more specifics on that, because in Florida, we don't have basements. Remember, we're building on concrete. The termites don't win against concrete yet. Yeah. They haven't evolved to that status. So we're good on the foundation part of it. And the walls on a single story property in Florida are made out of block also. Not that it's still very important to get treated for bugs, y'all. So we're on the same page there, but we just wanted to get a little bit more clarity. And a lot of people don't know that the homes are built out of block. So that's important to know.
Yeah,
2 stories it changes.
Yeah, I believe most builders do treat the frame before they drywall. because the wood could, they transport the wood in from someplace else, so it could have termites. But
Mhm.
yeah, I have seen a couple of builders that do that. I just don't know if every builder does that.
Yeah. Most of the lumber I've ever seen on the framing is pre-treated. It's usually a color of some sort, green or blue. And like, that's how you know it's been treated of some sort. All kinds of chemicals in that. So great question, by the way. Great question. All right. Marcia, let's see. I haven't read this yet, but maybe Marcia can take this one. Is the tax hit less for you moving from a homestead property in Florida to another homestead property in Florida versus moving here now? Yes, absolutely. That is called a homestead portability. But let me explain what I mean. That is only true if the property you're currently living in is your primary. We have homestead portability. So check deeper into that, Craig. We've talked briefly about that before, but it is absolute benefit of a Floridian who is moving from one property to another. So great question, my man. All right. David Tarbies. Forgive me if I'm not pronouncing that correctly. Hi, guys. My wife and I found your channel and are big fans. Question. We're looking for pre-construction with a pool. When do builders usually sell the models that have the pool already built? Great question. Ladies, Marcia, why don't you take this one?
Thank you. Not many builders build a spec home with a pool, but most of the time now when there is a home available, someone fell out of the contract, someone left the contract, and if they were building it with the pool, that would be your opportunity. If you're asking when you build a home and you want to have the home or the pool put in, you can do that with some builders, and some builders don't put in a pool, so you'd have to wait until your pool or your home is built and then build the pool.
Yep. We know of one right now who is putting them back in. During COVID, they basically shut that down, period. There was supply chain issues. It was a whole nightmare. But we do know for sure at least one builder in Tampa Bay is putting in pools. Ladies, you mind sharing who that is?
I know Homes by West Bay.
Yeah, Homes by West Bay. Biscayne also does that. And GI.
There you go. There you go. So there's three that will put the pools in. In terms of timing the models, David, that's difficult. We don't have a lottery line on that. I wish we did. That would be great. But as of right now, they just tell us, like, they start telling us when they're preparing to make moves. And then we can start asking questions. If you had a specific home in mind by a specific builder, reach out to us so we can reach out to the sales teams there and get the skinny for you. All right.
Yeah, because some of those builders, they have already sold those models and they're doing a lease back.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. It's different all the time, man.
Yeah.
Different all the time. So happy to dig in it deeper if we know a little bit more specific, maybe about the builder you're looking for. So great question. Great question. And great answer, ladies. Great answer. Michael says, perfect. Yes, I meant the land next to it. Just didn't see an announcement for that phase yet. Thank you. You're welcome. You're welcome.
Yep, that's their phase 2. They're waiting to open that soon.
Oh, this is my favorite. Eduardo, what is up, Eduardo? He says, hi, all. I saw an IG video today from the Reventure app saying that Florida housing market is collapsing. What's your take on this? These kind of videos? I try not to take them too seriously, but you never know. Man, if you go back and watch my live stream from 2 years ago, I was talking about that specific people that you're talking about right now, because they've been saying that the market was going to crash since 2012 again. So listen, the thing about data, and when I learned this, it just blew my mind, and it's true. That's the thing that bothered me about it. I was like, oh, that's right. The thing about information, data specifically, is it can be used for or against any argument. For or against any argument. Is the real estate market softening? The answer to that is yes. Okay. Is the real estate market crashing? No. Now, are there specific locations in the country that are being hit hard? Yes. Austin, Texas, down 20%. Right. The Bay Area in California, down 20%. The condo market in Southwest Florida, down tremendously. There are specific areas where that is definitely taking place. But I'll give you the short answer of why I don't believe, and again, This is one man's opinion, but I study this every day. Well, I don't believe it's that a real estate crash is on the table. If you look at the numbers, and I'm going to share them later, I want to just break down the simple math. In the last 10 years, over 15 million new households have been started in the United States. There have only been 11 million new home starts. You're at a 4 million deficit. And that doesn't include all of the people who have come over the border undocumented over the last, however, that same time period. That's just the people we can account for in the census, right? So we're at a shortage in housing across the United States. Now, we're not experiencing that as much here in Tampa because we have builders. That's the important thing to note. Same thing in Texas. The reason why Austin and Dallas and Tampa and Atlanta, these areas are starting to slow now, right? Or let me rephrase that. Our inventory is increasing is because we have builders. We've built more homes in the Tampa Bay area than most places in this country. So that is why. Do I believe that inventory will still continue to increase? Yes. Do I believe that sellers are going to have to make adjustments on listing prices? Yes. Do I believe that we're in for a real estate crash? No, unless our entire economy collapses. Because the fundamentals behind real estate are solid. Try to get a mortgage if you can't qualify. This isn't 2008 where you could get a ninja loan. Does anybody remember what a ninja loan is? Do you remember those? No income, no job. Ladies, do you remember that? Like, you could get your dog a mortgage back in 2003, right? I'm certain, like, that is real. I didn't sell real estate back then. I was buying it, right? And no income, no job. You could get a mortgage. That is crazy talk. Today, you get a financial colonoscopy if you want to get a mortgage. Right? The average buyer in the United States has a 770 credit score now. It's the highest it's ever been. They make way more money than they ever have. And I know I'm going tangent here. 40%, this is approximate. Approximately 40% of the homes in the United States don't have a mortgage on them. That's one thing. Another 30% of mortgages in the United States have mortgages that are under 5% interest rates. And I'm sorry, let me take one step back. 40% no loans. Another 30% of them have over half of the mortgage paid off. So 60% of the United States real estate either has 50% equity or doesn't have a loan on it at all. That, y'all, stuff has to go sideways for there to be a real estate crash. And I know who you're talking about. That guy gets a lot of clicks and views. He makes his money by scaring the crap out of people about real estate. Just go back 5 years. He has the same conversation every day. Real estate is collapsing all over the place. That's how he gets people to click. And he's not the only one. There's a whole segment of YouTubers out there that get paid by getting you guys to watch gloom and doom, but the numbers don't bear out. Is the market softening? Yes. Is it softening across the United States? Yes. Is affordability an issue? Yes. Are there still people buying and selling real estate? Yes. Do people still need a place to live? Yes. Do people want to buy versus rent? Yes. Is there a time to rent? Of course there is, right? So Eduardo, great question, my man. My belief system, and from what I'm seeing here in Tampa, and we're going to get into the numbers, inventory is going to continue to rise. Prices are going to continue to soften. That doesn't mean values are decreasing. Is that probable? Yes. Could we see a 1% slide this year in Tampa? Possibly. I think we're going to end up being up probably 3 to 5% year over year, when we've been up 13% year over year on average for the last decade. Right. So just sharing that with you, and I can back the numbers up, and we'll do that shortly. All right. So we're going to get into it. That's such a good question. So thank you for asking it. All right. Marcella says, thank you for sharing. That helps us know how much we need to do to live it. Absolutely. You're welcome. All right. Adam says, outdoor bushcraft, moving down from Southwest Michigan. Next year, hopefully, looking to move to Claremont, Florida. Middle of the state. Shout out to Claremont. That's Stacy's backyard. All right.
Yep, it's so pretty there in Claremont.
Yeah, I'm just trying to make sure we got this. At least the houses that are pre-2000. Okay, this is great. This is good. Dagan Moonboy. And I love the dog photo too. Dagan Moonboy says, at least the houses that are pre-2000 have more space between them and have mature trees. I'm not going to sit here and argue it. I love mature. That's what Stacy was saying is one of the pros, right? And going back to that conversation is what we were talking about, right? A more established neighborhood, you could have, old growth oak trees in them. And we talk a lot about this. There are specific neighborhoods like Two Rivers, by the way, which is building out there in that Zephyr Hills area that are dedicated to conservation and really making the community feel like it's part of nature rather than clear cutting everything and putting the 2 palm trees in your front yard and calling it good. And I agree with that. So I like having that nature too. So great question. All right. Desiree says, at Bruce, be sure to check out the flood zones. Yes, flood zones are a good thing to check out. That's how you mitigate insurance. Okay. This is a good question. Ooh, Marcia, you want to take this one?
What does the Tampa area have that the Fort Lauderdale area does not have? Well, they're very different. I would say the lifestyle is very different. Fort Lauderdale, I'm sure you know, is close to Miami, so it's a lot more fast-paced, a lot more, I would say people tend to concentrate more on what they drive and where they live and those types of things. Tampa's a lot more laid back. People are more about their experience of how they live, and it depends what you like. But a lot of people like the Tampa area because of it being laid back and very friendly, very new. So, would you guys say about that? Do you agree or no?
That's a good one. I appreciate the laid back. I agree with that wholeheartedly. Our beaches are world class. That Fort Lauderdale is known for its boats and yachts, and if that's a priority for you, I would encourage you to entertain that. Look at it. But they are very much different. There's a West Coast, Midwest laid back feel on the West Coast of Florida, and there is an East Coast phonetic pace to living on the East Coast of Florida. The beaches aren't as nice. That's just a fact. And trust me, we were people who were going to live on the East Coast. Part of the reason we made that decision is because the beaches aren't as nice and the people aren't as nice in general. And y'all, I'm just giving you my perspective. Generalizations are very dangerous. I don't want to judge everybody and say everybody is this, but in my experience, there's a lot of showmanship in that area. If that is important to you, that's a good fit. When you come over here, people flex over here with their time off. Right. Right. So just sharing that with you, people are laid back on the West Coast. So that's my 2 cents. What about you, Stacy?
I'd probably say Tampa's younger. You probably get a lot younger population in Tampa than in Fort Lauderdale.
Yep. Yeah,
that's
Tampa's very young.
Thought of that.
Yeah, Tampa's super young. 37 years of age on average, y'all. It just creeped up a little bit. It was 36.9 last year, went up to 37. They're getting grown up. Yeah, the senility's creeping in, Marcia. Those seniors over there, I don't know how they're going to do it in Tampa. That cracks me up, man. All right, let's go over here. Desiree says, Bruce, be sure to check out the flood zones. Oh, a girlfriend of mine lives in Citrus Park. She said it floods a lot when it rains. Yeah, and that is also something. That's going to be neighborhood to neighborhood, Desiree, and I haven't spent enough time in the neighborhoods there to know exactly which ones flood like I do know in St. Pete. So that good point. Good. That's something to bring up. Corey says 2012. Goodness gracious. All right. I misspoke on what year he bought the house. So not 2021, 2012. Congratulations on that. He says, realtor ran comps the house, suggested 3. Yeah, man. Congratulations, bro. Yeah. I thought you had bought it in 2021. All right. So you bought it for 126, if I remember correctly. And now you're going to be, congratulations, dude. That is awesome. Hopefully that runs smoothly for you. What a blessing. This is why real estate wins, y'all. When people ask me, well, why wouldn't I just rent? I don't know. You tell me. You guys tell me. There's a time and place. There's a time and place for it. I just want to make sure that we're on the same page. But thanks for sharing that, Corey. I love it. Let's see here. Gustavo, what is up, my man? He says, saw a video in Naples today. What a beautiful place. Wish I could afford something there. You and many, many other people. That is not for the faint of heart, Naples, in terms of price points. Naples is for sale right now. You know, who was it that was asking earlier about pricing? Dagan. Naples is for sale, my man. It is definitely some prices or houses to be picked up. But when I say for sale, that's going to be laughable to most people. That's going to be like, you know, a Bugatti going on sale. It's going to be like still crazy expensive for most. So, you know, but yeah, man, beautiful place. Naples is one of the most gorgeous places on this planet. It really is. It's beautiful. All right, Dagan's back to him. He says, definitely seeing condos at the beach in Pinellas County. Yeah, absolutely. Again, condos in the state of Florida. I've shared this before. Over the next 12 to 18 months, they're a dumpster fire. Be careful. We still have people calling us to buy them. We are very transparent with what's happening over there. Listen, if you can afford it and it's your dream, that people are going to do the thing, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? Just be aware. Make sure you're looking at condos that have had the structural certification at least completed, the engineering survey done. If you can do that, now you can have a level head about what we should be doing. Would you agree with that, ladies?
Yes.
Yes.
Awesome. All right. Austin will be the place to buy cheaper houses soon. Californians are leaving already. There you go. I don't know who is leaving the Austin, but what I do know is there are a lot of builders there, Gustavo. So they got hit early with the decline. Last year they were down 20%. So that's not news. Dig it. All right. Let me see here. Marcia, what does William have to say?
Good evening. What is OTW? Down to Bel Air Beach. Pardon?
On the way down.
Oh, on the way down to Bel Air Beach from Louisville with family of 6. Nice. We'll be vacationing and looking at properties for a month or so. Any advice on fixer uppers and or 203K loans? Thanks.
Yeah, great question. So in Bel Air, you will not find anything that qualifies for a 203K. So let me just say, and for those of you that don't know, Bel Air Beach is the most expensive real estate in Pinellas County. So that Clearwater St. Pete Beach, it is the highest price zip code. $1 million on it costs $1 million to smell the lawn in Bel Air. Literally, they don't even let you drive through. Give me your debit card. I'm joking, right? But no, it is the most expensive zip code in Pinellas County. So just so everybody knows, that's right on the beach. It's sandwiched in between. Let me just show. Perspective is everything. It's sandwiched in between Indian Rocks Beach and Clearwater. And let me explain why. So if we zip over to the beaches over here, as y'all can see, we got Clearwater Beach to the north. I'll point this out. This is Clearwater Beach, one of America's greatest beaches. And then as you come over the Sand Key Bridge right here, there's Sand Key Park. This is still Clearwater technically. This is Clearwater. And then below this is Bel Air Shores and Bel Air Beach. This is 1.93 or 94 miles, I think, somewhere around there, of private beach. There's no public beach access. There's not a single gas station. You can't buy a water anywhere on that. It is all just housing. And a lot of that stuff sells for 10, 12, 15 million bucks right on the water. If you get on the intercoastal, and what I mean by that is these little areas back here. And this is the intercoastal waterway back here. And you got little keys back here where you can buy houses. You can buy condos and houses back there. We were looking for $1 million. You can pick up a 3.2. It costs you about 1.3 to get one with the pool-ish, give or take. So just sharing that with you. 203K is a type of FHA rehab loan. That's not going to qualify for these types of properties. You could look in Clearwater proper and maybe find a property that could be approved for that. There's stipulations around a FHA rehab loan. It has to meet a certain minimum criteria in order for you to make those repairs. And then it also is going to have to appraise for the amount of the purchase price plus what you borrow to rehab it. And here's the thing that most people don't know. You can't do the work. If you're going to have a renovation loan done for an FHA loan, you're going to have to get 3 quotes. None of them can be related to you in any way, shape, or form. And whatever bid wins there, then they'll pay that person to do the work. So it ends up being a long process that costs as much as anything else, and not necessarily the greatest. But it can work in certain circumstances and markets. We used to use that a lot back in 2012 when the market was completely upside down and people were ripping out air conditioners and copper to scrap them. Yeah, that's how long I've been in real estate, by the way. The market was upside down. But the 203K loan then was very common because you could come in, get a new furnace, new AC. We don't have heaters down here, but new AC and all the copper plumbing replaced. It would all be brand new, and they would finance that into the deal. So great question, William. Hopefully that helped in some way, shape, or form. All right, let's keep this thing rolling. Keep going with questions here. Gustavo, my mortgage rate is 3 point. Y'all are in here flexing today. They are like, you see this mortgage rate, baby? Can you see? Congratulations, Gustavo. That's awesome. My mortgage rate is 3.4%. I can imagine buying a house nowadays with these prices and interest rates. That's why I'm going to Florida or Texas after selling my house in Massachusetts. All right, got it. Understood. Yeah. And that's funny to say, right? Like he's got a 3.4% mortgage rate. He said he can't imagine buying in these prices and these interest rates. But what did you say? I'm going to sell and come to Florida and Texas. Mm-hmm. Y'all, perspective is everything. It's everything. That's fascinating to me. Thank you for sharing that, Gustavo. Thank you for sharing. And shout out to Instagram. Love the Instagram followers. All right. Dagan's got lots of stuff. And I love opinions too. All right. Dagan says inventories at the beach is starting to swell, but prices are still sticky in my opinion. I think that's going to wait till these people get tired of their carrying costs. Again, I agree. There's a lot of factors in the condo market specifically. A lot of the condos are second homes first and foremost. So those are people who have the means. And a lot of these properties, again, they don't necessarily have mortgage. Y'all, we sell a lot of condos in cash, do we not?
Yes.
Right. So again, their carrying cost of the taxes plus the HOA, that's negligible to people that have those types of means. For most of them, there are going to be the outliers. So Dagan's right on that. Who is hurt most in this situation, Dagan, is the people on a fixed income. That is the people that are on hard times because they can't assume those repair bills. And if insurance cost has gone up, that's where that's going to be kind of painful. So that's why you're seeing that explosion in the inventory in condos. I'm going to do a whole talk on this. I've already said this because it's important to know, man. It's important. I personally would not buy a condo. And listen, I sell these things, but I'm not. I want you to hear me out. As an investment, I wouldn't purchase it right now. I'm not saying that a Florida condo is a bad investment. I just wouldn't purchase it now. There is going to be better deals for me, right? And I wouldn't purchase it to live in full time. It just doesn't make sense for me in my life cycle, right? But there will be a time in the foreseeable future when it's going to be a great time to buy Florida condos, and Juan's going to be in the game. Okay, so I want to share that with you guys, right? Just sharing transparently. Okay, all right. Tulio says, with houses sitting on the market longer, does the impact new construction inventory and allow for a little more wiggle room in negotiating lot premiums, rate buydowns, design credits, etc.? Ladies, both of you, I think, should answer this question.
Do you want to go, Marcia?
Sure. I don't think that it is. And I'm not experiencing that at all, actually. I feel like the new construction doesn't give you much room for negotiating at all. In my area, that's in Sarasota and Manatee County. How are you feeling about it up there, Stacy?
I think that if it is an inventory home or a home that has fallen out of contract, there is some wiggle room there on price, and they're offering nice incentives on top of that. So it's just being, right place, right time for those. I feel like some of the builders are being a little bit more relaxed on that sale of property contingency, whereas I think this time last year, you couldn't even go under contract unless you had your house under contract.
Yep.
And now there's more wiggle room there as well.
Yep. Agree with that. And Tulio, we are seeing, like, just in general, I'm seeing an uptick in my emails on incentives on the front end. Okay. So like 15, it used to be $10,000 down towards closing costs. Then it went to 15. Now we're seeing at 20, on the average home. So this is where I want to talk about. These price points are different. The buyer who can knock out the 1.2, there's not a whole lot of wiggle room, to Marsha's point there, right? The 1.2 million, 1.4, 850, like there's not a whole lot of wiggle room in there. There's some, but it's negligible, right? On the grand scheme of things. The 400,000 to 550 window, that's where we're seeing more heavily incentive, because those people are typically, and when I say those people, forgive me, but that market is a little bit more susceptible to swings in the economy, job loss, things being moved around. So that's what we're seeing in real time, just sharing that with you guys. Okay. So like DR Horton, Lennar, those, what we consider a tier 1 builder, especially the tier, I'm going to call them below them, but what we call the entry level builder, KB Homes, Casa Fresca, those guys are getting really aggressive with their incentives. So that's what I'm seeing top down. And again, these ladies are out there writing contracts. Right. So they're the ones that are in the thick of it. And there are some relaxing going on there. If you got specific areas or specific builders, neighborhoods, reach out, man. We're happy to have those conversations and help you dial that in, because what we're trying to do, we have clients right now that are on the waiting list. Right. And what I mean by that is, like, they can do the thing. They don't have to do the thing. And they're like, you know what? I want to wait for a good. Marsha and I were in a conversation related. It took me an hour to get out of her what a good deal actually was. I asked her 5 times. I'm like, what does that mean? She's like, well, I just don't want to pay. I was like, what does overpay mean? You got to help me understand what that means to you, right? Because it's different to everybody. We're getting through the conversation. But what she ended up sharing with us is she wanted something that felt good to her. And again, how do you make that tangible? So, but when we started sharing, like, hey, when these houses fall out of contract, they're calling us and now they're going, this qualifies for a great interest rate. Is that when you want the phone call? She's like, yes, that's when I want the call. Okay. And we're sharing that with you now, because if that's you, if you're watching this and you're right on the fringe, or you can do it, get in the mix here, right? We send our deal of the week. A lot of the times those are new construction, those properties that have fallen out of contract. Send us a message. Email information is below. Get on our mailing list. We'll send you that information. All right. Marsha does a great job. And so does Stacy, sending out that information every single week on, like, hey, this is a good deal, because they're in the field. They know what's happening. So shout out to you ladies. I appreciate that. Miss Olivia says, thank you. You're welcome. Dagan says, Gulf side way nicer, Andrew. I agree. We agree, but we're biased. I'm not afraid to say it. I am biased. I love where I live. Right, Marsha?
Yes. I think we all are biased.
Yes, I agree.
Absolutely. We're not going to be ashamed of that. You come to the wrong place if you want us to be ashamed of loving where we live. All right. It says, thanks for answering my question without your head exploding, Juan. Your videos and live streams are really helpful. You're welcome, my man. You're welcome. No, and it's my pleasure. There's always considerations for everyone, right? There is no perfect place in this world. That is a fact. But you can make great. You can make anywhere feel great if that's your attitude, for sure, right? Tampa has salsa. Fort Lauderdale does it. There you go. Talking about dancing, by the way, not just public salsa, which is some of the best, just in case you wanted to know. Lots of pro teams in Tampa. Yep, I agree on that. Dagan says, like the show, same time, nightly, weekly. Yep, we're every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Let's talk about that briefly, y'all, since you brought that up. I am going on vacation. I'm trying to go on a sabbatical, if you will. I'm going to be gone for a few weeks, and these ladies have graciously raised their hand. But here's what we need you to know. On July 2nd, which is Tuesday, July 2nd, there will be no live stream. All right. These ladies are going to be either hanging out with their families or serving clients. But there will be 2 weeks when I am not with you. Stacy and Marsha are going to lead this show. lead this ship. And I know you're all going to be amazing and super supportive because that's what our community does. And we appreciate you. Right. We appreciate you. So thank you for asking.
We are going to do our best.
Yes.
Love that. Dagan says, click the bell and hit the like button. That's right. And don't forget to subscribe either.
And by the way, Juan, I just found out I volunteered to do this today by Stacey.
Oh, that's right. You're welcome. You're welcome. We'll talk about that later. See how that happens? You like that, guys? Love that. All right. More questions to come. Crypto Kyle says, what areas would you recommend that is 30 minutes or less to Tampa and the beach for 500K? 500 to 600K. 30 minutes or less to the beach to Tampa is going to put you in Pinellas County. So that's going to be Clearwater, St. Pete, and then obviously closer areas like Largo, Seminole, Dunedin. Those are the areas you're going to target. You pretty much can't be off Pinellas County and be 30 minutes to the beach. It's going to be very difficult. Once you get up to the northern suburbs where Stacy is up in Wesley Chapel, up in Pasco County, you're talking about an hour for the most part. Marcia is down in Bradenton off the Manatee River. There's areas like Parrish that are 30 minutes to the water that you can execute that. So get a newer home. Just FYI, but that's like the last frontier. Parrish is the last one. As soon as you move away from that, you're now 45 minutes on average to get to the water. Okay, just sharing that with you. All right, with the pool. Yep, caught that. Dagan says, I see a lot of condos beach that bought tops at last 12 to 24 months. That really sucks. Yeah, people are getting stuck is what he's referring to. Double M? What? I don't know where we're going with that. Interesting, right? Interesting. All right, we got a follow-up here. All right, says follow-up question from William, by the way. So thank you for the follow-up question. Looking to buy a fixer-upper, SFH. I don't know all those acronyms either, Marcia. So I'm anywhere around 300,000 and under in Pinellas, west of Seminole Boulevard, not far from the beach. Any areas you might, dude. West of Seminole Boulevard for 300 grand, dude, that's gonna be an off-market deal right now. Well, that's not true. We put the couple in from Idaho in a home up in Clearwater, right? Or was that Largo, Marcia, for like 250? But that was a 2-bedroom.
It was 350.
Oh, 350, and that was a 2-bedroom, right?
Yeah.
William, you're asking for the unicorn, and here's what I'll say: if you find that, I might fight you for it.
I think a lot of people will be fighting.
Yeah, that's my point. I'm kidding, by the way. But what you're asking for is difficult to achieve. It is possible. But just know this, anything under 300 in Pinellas County, it's not in a good area, or it's in complete disrepair. That's just the reality of it. Pinellas County, the median sales price is $485. The average is $580. And that home is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,200 square foot shoebox. So just sharing that with you. Trying to keep it real, brother. Trying to keep it real. All right.
Hey, I figured out what SFH means.
What does it mean? Single family home.
Single family home.
There it is. Yeah. It stumped me when I saw it because I thought I was going down the other road. Single family home. Yeah, of course it does. All right. Duh. Slow guy in the room.
I think we were all slow on that one.
Awesome. Go Stacy and Marcia. You ladies that's Miss Madison Thornton, who we love and appreciate, by the way. She is not only an amazing cheerleader, she is a past client and now a peer. She's a fellow realtor. She has jumped in the the sea of real estate agents. I saw a statistic this week, ladies, and I have to validate it. That's why I didn't show it to everybody. It said that there are 469,000 registered real estate agents in the state of Florida.
Wow.
Oh my God.
It's like 12% of the population.
So when someone says, I know a real estate agent.
Oh, of course you do. You know 12, right? Like, you know 12 at least, right? That's fascinating. But Madison is an amazing human being. So y'all.
Yes, and very hard worker. I know she's going to do awesome.
Much respect for that young lady. Much respect. All right. Let me see here. Andrew says, I like salsa, pro teams, and younger demographic. Thanks for the advice. Looking to slow down and warm up my life from New Hampshire. Yeah, dude, Tampa's where you want to be, bro. way more laid back. All right. Thank you for ladies for continuing the show while Juan is away. You are welcome. If you're over 55, you might be able to find that. I think he was talking to Andrew. All right, ladies, I'm going to do just a quick rundown of stats, and then we're going to get out of here tonight. Y'all, thank you for another incredible evening. Thank you for your wonderful questions. I know we don't beat the drum often. If you guys want to if you would like to have a conversation about relocating the area, if you have deeper questions, don't hesitate to reach out. There's 2 ways to do that, y'all. Okay. Number 1, you can reach out to the ladies directly. Their Instagram handles are on the screen. Okay. Ladies, are you checking those DMs? Am I sending people? Okay. I just want to make sure. I'm not. Just want to make sure because I have been guilty of not going to that for a while. And I showed up and I was like, shoot. Right. That is one way. Another way, our information is on the screen. If you go to tvhomesearch.com, you can schedule a Zoom call right through there. Also, in the description of this YouTube channel, all of my contact information is there. The phone number, which is on the screen, my email is on there, and our Zoom link to schedule a call with us. Take us up on it. We're here to serve. Okay. If Tampa's not right for you, find out ahead of time. That way you don't have to buy a house and find out the hard way. That's not our goal here. Our goal is to be a guide. Right. So thank you guys for being amazing. Now, I just want to share a couple quick things. Lots of great questions were asked tonight regarding real estate in the area. I want to share some objectivity with you on what's contributing some of these factors. You know, Dagan brought up a lot of really good questions about condo inventory. Condominium inventory in the state of Florida has exploded, and a majority of that is happening on the southwest side. From Naples all the way up. It's starting to affect Pinellas County too. Really, that's been happening for the last 4 or 5 months. And we've discussed before that has some different factors that are contributing to that. Okay. And we'll get into that briefly, but I want to show you some other things too. All right. Housing markets on Florida's West Coast are cooling faster than anywhere else in the US, with supply rising and demand falling. That's a great headline. There's a lot of truth to it. And there's some things you need to be aware of why. All right. So that's why I wanted to get into this really quick and share these numbers with you. Okay. Let me zoom out a little bit. Come on, baby. There we go. That's as big as I can get this thing. All right. Here's what I want you to be aware of. And I highlighted this for a reason. And I know it's small, but it says a new construction boom is contributing to listings surging to pre-pandemic levels on the Florida's West Coast. Our West Coast is huge, y'all. It's a very vague term, but it is happening. So you need to be aware of it. In inventory from Venice, or actually from Naples into Sarasota is literally ballooned to over 10 months of inventory. There's a lot. Okay. Tampa, we're not quite there, but we have increased by 60% and we're almost back to pre-pandemic levels. We will be there by the end of next month. So sharing that with you. Now, is that a bad thing? No. A normal market in 2018, that was what was considered a normal market. 2018, 2019, we're just now starting to come back to that inventory. That's good for buyers. Is it great for sellers? No. You have more competition. You're going to have to make adjustments on pricing. You can't ask for the moon anymore. And again, I prefer a balanced market. I love being a homeowner that has a ton of equity. I get that, but it should not be treated like a casino machine where you can just pull the slot and every 3 years you're going to get hundreds of thousands of dollars on it. This is a real asset. And over history, is it appreciated at a very steady clip? 5 years, 5% steady state for the last 60 years on average. So going up 20, 30% in a market in 2 to 3 years time span, that's not healthy. In the United States, we went up 40% through COVID. In Tampa, we went up 63. So we need to have some semblance of sanity. That's all I'm saying, y'all. All right. All right. So when we get into this, it talks about the fastest slowing. It doesn't say that real estate is crashing. It doesn't say that it's flipping upside down, because none of that is true. But we are cooling. That is important to note. If you're looking for opportunity, when a market slows down, ring the bell. That's opportunity. Okay. So that's what I want you guys to be aware of. Northport's housing market is cooling fastest, followed by Tampa, then Cape Coral. There are 3 other Florida metros on that list of 10 that are cooling quickly as well. Orlando, which is still growing. We're growing. I want you guys to hear that. We're still growing. But followed by Denver, Houston, Minneapolis, Jacksonville, Lakeland, and Dallas. So this is something to be aware of. If you're looking for opportunity, now is the time to keep your eyes on it. I'm not saying you should buy today. Hear me clearly. Start paying really good attention. Okay. It gets into the details of those markets. So that's the first thing I want to share with you. The next thing I want to share with you guys is just some brief numbers. So let me pull those up as well. And we'll get in and out of this quickly. I'm using Redfin and not our local MLS because I want you to be able to look at public sources. You don't have to take my word for it. Go look at the data. All right, this is the Tampa housing market. Now, here's what I want you to be aware of. This is Tampa specifically. This is not Wesley Chapel. It's not Lakewood Ranch. It's not Sarasota. I'm going to talk about those markets too, but that is Tampa specific, and you'll see the lines here. All right, the Tampa housing market, single family homes, year over year, meaning from May last year versus May this year, not the entire time period. I'm talking about May versus May. Home prices actually were down 1.3% on single family homes. Interesting note. We've been up forever, right? For 4.5 years. Now, will we end the year that way? No, but year over year, we're there. That's something to take note of. Now, look at this market. Condos down 10% off their peaks. So that's something to note. Now, these little lines here, these are the other cities I included on this. And I want to share this with you guys really quick. I know this is small and you're having a hard time reading it. The top line is 300,000. That's Tampa, down 10% in condos. Clearwater down 18.7% in condo market. Y'all, that's a correction. That's no longer a we're down. That's a correction, just so everybody is aware. St. Pete down 23%. Again, correction. Darn near crash, right? Depending on how you categorize that. Sarasota, this I found fascinating, up 42%. Right? So even though they've been going down, but this is the actual sale price is what we're talking about, right? So the thing I want you to be aware of in that one sale of a Sarasota condo could be $10 or $12 million. That will affect that number dramatically. So just be aware of that. That's kind of throws those numbers off. Numbers of homes sold. Again, we want to look at what's selling. This is where I was talking about the market softening. We're down in sales 24%. Okay. Based upon this data. Wesley Chapel didn't pull all the data. And this, again, this is Redfin. I'm going to give you guys the MLS numbers, which is going to be more dialed in later. Clearwater down 20% in the number of sales, not the housing prices. Make sure you're hearing me correctly. St. Pete down 4%. Again, Sarasota must have sold a complex over there that made things swing. Days on market. This is important to note. Days on market. This is growing. Again, look where the puck is going. Tampa up 6, but our days on market is still only 33 days on market. So what does that mean? If we didn't list another home on the market in Tampa starting tomorrow, we would sell through all of the inventory in 33 days. That's what that number means. Okay. Clearwater up to 61 days on market. Okay. That's 2 months worth of inventory is what you're seeing there. St. Pete, 2 months worth of inventory, 59 days. Sarasota, a little over 2 months of inventory there as well. So this is something to take note of. Keep your eyes on that, y'all. You can get a little bit more specific on these markets. I will do a full breakdown on this, I promise. But I just want to give you some insights. But here's what I want your takeaway to be. Inventory is increasing across the United States, except for small pockets in the Northeast, like Massachusetts. But it is going to continue, and this is my belief and what I'm seeing. Inventory is going to continue to increase all across the United States and in the greater Tampa Bay area. We have builders. They're not going to stop building. Pray that they don't. Because the last time that happened is why we had that ridiculous housing price increase during COVID. Because they had stopped building for a decade prior to that. And they didn't really start building again until COVID because it was necessary. We needed them to. All right, ladies, is that fair?
Very.
Right? So they're both a blessing and a challenge because if you're a seller, you want the moon, right? But if you're a buyer, you want reasonable, right? So what I'm letting everybody know is we are coming into a reasonable market. Buyers are going to have a lot more conversations with sellers, and sellers are going to have to bring it back down to realistic expectations. Remember when you bought and sold your home last time, what that was like if it wasn't during COVID. you were probably able to go tour a home, go home, having meaningful conversation about it, sleep on it, wake up the next day, talk about whether you wanted to write an offer that wasn't the asking price, negotiate with the seller. I mean, this is how real estate has worked historically. The last 4 years, not real. That's fake out, right? So sharing this with you guys, I know I'm passionate about this, but hear me out. There's always a great time to buy when it's the right time to buy for you. That is not always today. Hear me loud and clear, right? There are terrible times to sell, right? So just be aware of that. But if you plan on living in the home that you're going to purchase, and if that plan includes more than 5 years, historically speaking, real estate is a very safe place. If you're going to speculate and start flipping houses and betting that you're going to get a 20% return or any return at all in a 2-year period, you are rolling the dice. You showed up at the casino table, and who has the favor? Is it the house or the gambler? It's the house, right, ladies? Mm-hmm. So just keep that in mind. All right, just keep that in mind. All right, cool. Last thing, and then we're going to wrap this up. I'm not sharing anything here. Deegan says, great show. We will keep it up, my man. Thank you very much. Thank you. We got a new follower there, so we appreciate you very much, Deegan. JW says, could you give your opinion on North River Ranch community? How close in proximity to the malls, beaches, and what are the things to do in the parish area? Marcia, this is your wheelhouse. This would made one of my top 5 suburbs in all of the greater Tampa Bay area, JW. So that's what I'll tell you right now. It's in my top 5. Marcia, this is your backyard.
Hey, JW, I have been working in Parish a lot lately. It's very popular. You can get great deals on new construction homes. They're offering really good incentives, and the neighborhoods are going to be great. If you have ever heard of Lakewood Ranch, that is what North River Ranch is trying to be like. It's a well-planned community. You can live right inside the community and never leave if you want. They're going to have shopping and a hospital. They're building schools. So it's a really good place within the community. And the other thing that makes Parish so wonderful is where it's located, because you're in driving distance to the Sarasota University Town Center Mall is, I would say, 25 minutes from there. You can head up to St. Pete and be downtown St. Pete in about 25 minutes. You can be to St. Pete Beach in about 30 minutes. So it's got a lot going on. What you can do in Parish, like I said, the communities are great. They're very active. So you'll have most communities there have swimming pools, have workout centers, have walking trails, bicycle trails. There's a lot for you to do. So it's a really good community to look into. And like I said, I do a lot. I'm in that community a lot. So if you have any questions, give me a call.
Great response.
Good.
I love it. Yeah. And I think you nailed it. So that is fantastic. Y'all, great show tonight. More questions. We scheduled these for an hour. Here we are, an hour and 30 minutes in, still answering you guys' questions. And we're grateful, just so you know. So if you're watching this later, feel free to ask your questions in the comments. We will circle back around and try to get those answered accordingly. Feel free to join us on these live streams every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Talk about all things Tampa Bay. You guys heard it. We tackled the hard stuff tonight. We talked about, some things that aren't easy to talk about. We do that commonly. We will always share what we can. There are some things that we're not allowed to say because we hold a professional license, but we'll always guide you to the resource whenever possible. All right. So we're grateful to have you as an audience. If you're just finding us and discovering us, we're the True Living Group. We help people just like you buy, sell, and relocate all over the greater Tampa Bay area, and be happy to do that with you as well. All of our contact information is down below, including a link to my calendar, so you can schedule a time that's most convenient for you. Y'all, thank you so much for the evening. Hit the like on the way. You must have your own channel, man. I love it. That's fantastic. Adam says thanks. Enjoy your trip. Absolutely. I'll see you guys next week. Just so you know. Kiara said thank you as well. And y'all, we appreciate you so much. Thank you. And yeah, Adam, he reminded me, and I haven't said that on a video in a while, but just a reminder: when you move to Florida, you do not have to shovel sunshine, y'all. That is absolutely true. And until next time, y'all, go out, live that Tampa life. God bless. Have a great evening.